Jason Wetzler grew up on a 14-acre farm in the middle of Portland, Oregon. He was the, quote, farm kid in his high school and attributes the lessons he's learned in life to his agricultural upbringing. Jason has worked with audiences in over 40 states and 4 other countries and authors a weekly newsletter. He's passionate about asking big questions, loves telling stories, is his grandma Dorothy's biggest fan, and shares that he married a Southern girl way out of his league. When he's not holding a microphone, Jason enjoys coaching wrestling, traveling internationally, working with his dogs Lucy and Finn at the dog park, and creating something new with friends and family. With everything that Jason does, he has one goal: to make the lives of others better. And that's what he hopes to do tonight. Please welcome Jason Wetzler. Headquarters, please escort Jason to the stage.
Madison FFA, what's going on? Hey, give it up for Brooke. She did a great job escorting me to the stage. Wow. Looking out, oh my gosh, for those of you watching at home, it's so cool to see 20,000 Wisconsin FFA members right here. They'll never know, guys. Hey, really excited to be here. I landed 3 hours ago, and I'm so stoked to be here this evening with you. We've been sitting a little while, and so here's what we're gonna do. Any competitive people in the room? Anybody who likes competition? Okay, yeah. How about maybe you're like, I don't know if I'm competitive, but when it comes to my older siblings, it's on. Anybody? Okay? Man, I kid you not. I'm real competitive. I'll be at the grocery store with one of those self-checkouts. Make eye contact with an older woman across from me, be like, it's on, Bertha, and just start scanning stuff. Oh, we're gonna have a little competition, so if you're ready, here's what we need to do. Everyone, get everything out of your hands. Everything out of your hands, okay? No cell phones. Okay, and I'll go ahead and stand on up. You don't need anything with you. You can leave your phone, your watch, your dignity. Okay, just leave that in your chair. Here's what we're going to do. Everyone take your right pointer finger, point it to the sky. Right pointer finger. We're going to test the Wisconsin school system here, okay? We all got it right. This is already going, hold on, wait a second. I know this one. Okay, now go ahead and take your left palm, point it towards the ceiling. Now take your right pointer finger, put it in the palm of the person next to you. Everyone's like, I don't understand, okay? Here's the competition, folks. You can win by doing two things only. You have to grab the person's finger in the palm of your hand. You got them, okay? And you have to not get got. You know what I'm saying? Okay? It's simple as that, So here we go. On the count of 3 and only 3. On the count of 3 and only 3. 1, 2. Now cheaters, I said on 3, dishonest folk up here. Okay, bunch of dishonest dairymen. Okay, that's a stereotype, I'm sorry. Everyone, palms flat, fingers down. Here we go, palms flat, fingers down. Ready, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Man, okay, hold on. That was a practice round. Left palm up, right pointer finger down. Here we go. 1. You need to be built for speed. 2. You got to have the fastest reflexes. 3. Shake it out. Okay, here we go. One more time. Look to the person next to you and say, it's about to go down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stay standing right where you're at. Here's the thing that always happens when I do this. There's the people that are playing like normal. They're just like, okay, all right. They're like, whatever, it's fun. I don't really care about this. There's people out here, you look around, they're literally like, ready position. And then my favorite person in the crowd, and I'm not going to point to anybody, okay, I call him Screamer, because I'll be like 1, 2. They don't even do it. They just go, ah! Like just freak out. They forget about all the bodily, I don't know what's happening. Okay, here we go. We're going to change it up. Everybody, right pointer finger down. Wait, did we just do that? Left pointer finger down, right palm up. Left pointer finger down, right palm up. All the lefties are like, oh, it's on now. Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That was pretty good. Are there any winners in here? Any winners? Are there any losers in here? Any double losers in here? Hey, loud and proud, baby. Come on. Hey, all right. We're going to do last thing to get our competitive juices flowing before we get into this here. Last thing. We're going to go rapid fire. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with right pointer finger down, left palm up. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ready. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to switch it up. We're going to do it 5 times. How many? Here we go. Right pointer finger down, left palm up. 1, 2, 3, go. Switch. Left pointer finger down, right palm up. 1, 2, 3, go. Switch. Right pointer finger down, left palm up. 1, 2, 3, go. Switch. Left pointer finger down, right palm up. 1, 2, 3, go. Give somebody a high five sitting next to you. Have a seat. Have a seat. Man, I'll tell you what. Whew. Hey, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be alive. Turn to the person next to you and say, I'm so glad you're here. Now go ahead and turn to the other person on your other side and say, you are also here. It's pretty messed up. You didn't choose them. It's pretty messed up. Hey, I'm a competitive person. I always like to start off with a little competition. I know FFA is all about competitions. I'm a former FFA member myself. My mom's an ag teacher. Tonight, before you get to know a little bit about me and some of my stories, I like to get to know some of the audience members. I'm looking for 5 very specific people in this. No, they're very specific. Hold on, that was aggressive. Wow. That was, were those words or just like all syllables? Okay, huh? Okay, here's the thing. I need to find the tallest FFA member in the room. The tallest FFA member in the room. You're on a chair. Chairs don't count. Okay, how tall are you? Is anybody taller than 6'3"? Anybody taller than 6 foot? How tall are you? Anyone? Yeah, who's taller? 6'4"? How tall are you? 6. How tall are you? No. All right, we're gonna go with 6'4". My man, right here. Yeah, right there, 6'4". 6'4". That wins. All right. I found one person. Come up the stage. Yeah, come on up. You can come up these stairs right here, buddy. All right, I need to find the person, the FFA member with the best hair. The best hair. The best. Holy yes. Wow. Come on. That's insane. All right, I need to find, that is crazy. Do you use mane and tail? That's awesome. Okay, I need to find the best dancer. The best dancer. Okay, all right, okay. I need to find, there's 2 more. I need to find the person with the best laugh. The best laugh. Okay, all right. You are going wild out here. Okay, last person. This is my favorite one. You guys, I'm not going to lie. When I came up with this in my office the other day, I was laughing so hard at my own joke, so even if you don't get this, I don't care. I need to find the best Kevin. The best Kevin. The best Kevin. You are not a Kevin. The best Kevin. Are you a Kevin? Are you a Kevin? Come on up here. Come on up, the best Kevin. Come on up, right here. Don't climb. Okay, can I get a handheld mic on stage, please? Handheld, por favor. Thank you so much. We're gonna start, oh, hey there. Okay, we're gonna start, folks, with, we got best hair right here. Wow. Okay, go ahead and start, tell everyone your name and your home chapter.
My name is Ryan Fox, and I'm part of the Edgerton chapter.
Okay, first of all, Ryan, first of all, there's no way you're an FFA member. You're either a full-grown advisor or a cop, okay? There's no way you're in high school, man. Someone check this guy's birth certificate. Okay, I'm joking with you. Okay, I have a question. Were you born with this hair, or did you choose it at some point?
Definitely chosen.
Okay, that's probably good, because that would have been you know, a crazy baby, right? Okay, I have one question for you. What is one goal you have here while at the Wisconsin FFA convention?
Meet new people, for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, everybody give it up for Ryan. I'm sitting on stage with a little prize here. There's some stickers for you, man. Thank you much. You can have back your seat. Okay, all right, we're going to the next one here. Name and home chapter?
My name is Blake, and I'm from Edgerton.
Do you know Ryan?
Sure do.
Okay, that's good, because you're from the same town. Okay, Blake, right? Were you born this tall, or at some point did you choose to be?
Somehow I grew to this height. I don't know, but yeah.
It must have been all the dairy in Wisconsin. That's what I think it is. Woo, Kyle, shoo! Okay, what is one goal you have for your time here at Wisconsin FFA Convention?
Meet new people.
All right, I like it. Okay, everyone give Blake a big round of applause. He has back to his seat. Some prize for you. Thank you so much. Okay, name and home chapter.
Brenna Goplin from Whitehall.
Wait, say your first name one more time.
Brenna.
Brenna.
Yeah.
Brenna, that's a great name, Brenna. Brenna, you are a dancer. You're a self-proclaimed best dancer in this entire room. You know what I'm gonna ask you, right?
Yeah.
Are you ready to bust a move?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, well, okay, all right, give us your best move. Everyone, here we go. We're gonna get a beat going for it. Ready here, just clap, ready? Yeah, give it up for Brenna. All right, Brenna, one more question before you go. What is one goal you have for yourself while here at Wisconsin FFA Convention?
Meet new people.
Okay, wow, 3 for 3 on that one. Here we go, thanks. Give it up for Brenna one time, everybody. All right, same question, name and home chapter.
Anna Necht, Cochrane Fountain City.
Anna, I don't know if you know this, but you were going absolutely insane on the floor. Is that just a normal every day for you, or is that like, only for FFA Convention?
Normal every day
That's
and
awesome.
FFA conventions.
That's awesome. Okay, what is one goal you have for your time here at Wisconsin FFA Convention?
To meet new people.
Okay, awesome. That's fantastic. Everyone give it up for Anna. Here we go. Okay. We have here with us, ladies and gentlemen, first time ever on this stage, the world champion Wisconsin FFA, Kevin. Give it up for him one time. Let's start with your name and home chapter.
My name's Austin Neef, and I'm from
Are you
Spooner.
serious right now? Only in Wisconsin is the best Kevin named Austin. Wow, okay. That is, I should have expected this. Okay. Your name's, what?
Kevin.
Perfect, that's what I thought. Kevin, were you born a Kevin, or did you choose it at some point?
Oh, I was always born to be a Kevin.
So you were like a month old, and your mom was like, hey, your name's gonna be Austin, and you were like,
No, it's Kevin.
he went through puberty at 3 weeks old. Okay, all right, Kevin, tell us one goal you have for yourself here at Wisconsin FFA Convention.
Meeting new people and just sharing agricultural experiences. I don't know.
Yeah! I do have one final question. Could we get the house lights on really quick? House lights on for a second. If just quick raise a hand. Are there any actual Kevins in this room? Kevin's like, Kevin, I just gotta ask, how do you feel about this? Are you upset? Kevin's like, real Kevin, fake Kevin. Real Kevin's like, no, I heard there's a speaker, so I just went to the bathroom. So thanks, Kevin. I might not look for the best Kevin anymore. They're kind of mean. Okay, all right. No, Kevin, I'm kidding, man. Is your real name Austin or Kevin? Yeah. It's Austin.
Well, it's Kevin. It's Kevin.
I can't. Does anyone know his real name? Oh. We'll never know. Everyone give it up for! All right, buddy. Well, one more set of stickers for you. There you go, man.
Thank you.
Here, you give it to someone in your school. That was crazy. All right, quick audience poll. You guys want me to use this microphone or this microphone? First one. Okay, sounds good. First one it is. All right, y'all. I'm going to put this down real quick. So here's the thing. I asked everyone if they had a goal here at convention, if they had a goal for themselves here at convention. I'm a speaker on leadership. I travel around the world, that's what I do, and I talk about goal setting a lot. But it wasn't always something that I knew a lot about. In fact, when I was a little kid, all of the goals I set in the world had to do with the movies that I watched at the time or a TV show that I watched, okay? So I remember I watched the original Jurassic Park when I was like 4 years old. I watched it with my older brother. As soon as we watched the movie, both my brother and I knew exactly what we wanted to be when we grew up. Okay, we're watching the movie, we get done. We both run into the room to tell mom because whoever gets there first and tells her first gets to claim it, right? My brother grabs her right before I do it, and he goes, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. She goes, okay, what? He goes, when I grow up, I want to be a dinosaur. A little while later, anyone have siblings in here? Anyone the second child? The second child, okay. Siblings, right? Anyone else have to get babysitters when they're growing up? Anyone else have a babysitter when they're growing up? Anyone else still have babysitters? That's fine. Hey, that's fine. No shame, yo. No shame. Man, I tell you what, my older brother and I, we were a lot to handle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we went through babysitters like a Taco Bell addict goes through toilet paper. You know what I'm talking about? Okay? We were a lot to handle. I only make that joke in agricultural crowds. You know what I'm saying? One night, my mom, who's an FFA advisor, was away at an FFA event. We had a babysitter named Holly. Now, here's the thing about Holly. Ben and I, we liked Holly. We just didn't respect her. You know what I'm saying? Okay? And so she had a tough time with us. Well, that evening, Holly was in the back room talking on the house phone, because that's what existed back then. My little brother and sister were doing whatever little kids do in their room. And Ben and I were watching our favorite show in the world, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Okay? Now, here's the thing. A Power Rangers episode runs about 20 minutes. But it would take Ben and I usually around an hour to watch one episode because we would stop the show and reenact the scenes as we watched them, okay? So we're watching this episode of Power Rangers, and the reason it was my favorite show, you have to understand, is that I had a huge crush on the pink Power Ranger, Kimberly. I mean, she was fine, okay? And in the show, she's dating the green Power Ranger, Tommy. Now, Tommy is the strongest, fastest, most shirtless Power Ranger you have ever seen in your entire life. I mean, this dude never wore a shirt, and he was jacked. I mean, he had abs on his back, okay? Like, he was ripped. And I wanted nothing more in life than to have a six-pack like the green Power Ranger. So we're watching this episode, right? And in this episode, this is before they were teammates, the Red Ranger, who my brother always was fighting off, or was attacking the Green Power Ranger, using his sword, attacking him. And Tommy's being backed up, defending attack. And finally, he's backed up on the edge of this cliff. And to evade the attacks of the Red Ranger, he has to do a backflip off of the rock. So we pause the show. My brother and I grabs, nice. My brother and I grabs his Power Ranger sword. I take my shirt off. The attacks start coming left and right. I'm backing up. Pretty soon, he's got me backed up on the edge of the coffee table. Now, I've never done a backflip before. But at this point, I'm 5 years old. I had one chest hair. I'm practically a grown man. I feel like I don't have a choice. So I flex my green Power Ranger abs as hard as I can. I throw my head back and throw my feet as high as I possibly could. And they say in times like these that time seems to slow down, and I found this to be absolutely true. The first thing I saw as my head arched over backwards was the horrified look of our babysitter Holly as she came into the room to check on us. The second thing I saw was my brother's face, who was looking at me like. The next thing I saw was the gray carpet of our living room floor, approaching a little bit faster than it should have been. And what I should have seen next was the coffee table again, but what I saw was nothing. When I finally came to, I just heard a voice. It was Holly on the phone. She was talking to someone, and I couldn't quite open my eyes yet. And she said, no, he tried to do a backflip. No, it was actually kind of impressive. No, he landed on his neck. No, I haven't called his mom yet. One of her sons might be dead. As she explained what happened, I was able to kind of stir awake, and as soon as I was able to crack my eyes, I found my older brother in my face, staring over me. He had a sword in hand, and he looked at me, and he said, Red Ranger wins again. It's funny, I was okay. Obviously, I'm still here. We don't know if everything's all right, but I'm here, right? A couple years go by, and it's funny how that experience stuck with me, because I was in my 4th grade class, and Mr. Deagle, my teacher, was talking to us about New Year's resolutions and how we should write our New Year's resolutions down. Well, I'd never thought about writing anything I wanted down, writing a goal down. But I went home and I grabbed a white piece of paper and a black Sharpie, and I thought back to the Green Power Ranger. And I wrote on that piece of paper, get a six-pack. And I taped it to the ceiling above my bed. So it'd be the first thing I saw in the morning when I woke up and the last thing I saw before I went to sleep. My first real goal. Now, unfortunately, over the next couple of years, I didn't achieve that goal for two reasons. One, puberty. And two, I didn't do a lot of sit-ups, which is required for abs. You're with me. As I went throughout those years, though, I remember thinking, I failed my goal, and I remember telling myself that I was a failure. And so often in life, we associate whether people are successful or not with what they've accomplished in their life. Well, the reality is that's simply not true. And tonight, I want to redefine that narrative. Instead of asking, what do I have to do to be successful, I want us to start asking, who do I have to become? And for me to introduce this topic a little bit deeper, I want to introduce you to the most successful person I know. There's a picture of my family. You can throw that up on the screen. Awesome. Oh, that's me. That's my family. Okay, so I'm going to just really quick about me. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. That's me on the left, okay? We're at the St. Patrick's Catholic Church in Canby, Oregon. Go there every Christmas with my grandma. Behind me, that's my older brother, okay? In front of me, or next to me, is my best friend Grant. Behind him is my little brother Zach. In front is my Aunt Carol. We don't really talk about her, you know what I'm saying? Hey, everyone has an Aunt Carol in their family. And if you're sitting here thinking like, wait a second, my family doesn't have an Aunt, it's me, okay? Just kidding. My sister Caitlin next to us. Next to Caitlin is my ex-girlfriend. She's my wife now, former girlfriend, wife currently, and she loves that joke. Okay, this is my stepdad, Wynn, my mother-in-law, Ann, my cousin, Sean, my mother, and then down in the center in that black and pink blazer is my grandma, Dorothy. She is 93 years young, ladies and gentlemen. She is older in years than she weighs in pounds. Okay? She had 10 kids, which means I have cousins I've not even met yet, all right? Catholic families, you know what I'm talking about. And I can say that, right? Well, whatever. And she's an incredible woman. And she's the most successful person I know. Now you may be thinking, oh, so your grandma's successful because she lives in a really nice house. Well, in fact, no, she lives in the same house she's lived for 56 years, which she raised all of her 10 kids in. You may be thinking, oh, it's because of what she drives. Well, not actually, because she's actually never had a driver's license. You may think, oh, it's because of the money she has. Well, no, she's not successful because she's wealthy. In fact, she lives month to month on a slim retirement account that she had from owning a bakery in the 90s. So if it's not what she drives or where she lives or what money she has, then what makes my grandma successful? Well, that's the question, isn't it? What makes any of us successful? Really quick, before we go any further, can I just really quick give me a shout out? Where are my middle schoolers at? Middle schoolers, where you at? Okay, nice. Middle schoolers, this speech is for you because I wish someone would have told me what real success was when I was in middle school. Freshmen and sophomores, where you at? Underclassmen, freshmen and sophomores, where you at? Yeah, okay. This speech is for you because the decisions you're making, there's too much at stake with the decisions you're making for you to have a misplaced definition of success. Finally, juniors and seniors, upperclassmen, the leaders, where are you? Where are you? There it is. This speech is for you because in a few months or maybe even in a few days or maybe just a couple days ago or in a year, you're going to enter the real world. You're going to go from the blue jacket to the real world, a world that wants to define you by your failures, and we cannot let that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you're 5, 55, or 95, my goal tonight is this. When you walk out those doors, you'll have redefined what you believe makes a successful person. For us to do that, I've traveled all over the world. I get to work with leaders in all different capacities, businesses, FFA, you name it. And I've realized 3 things that all successful people have in common. So if you want to be a successful person, these are the things you have to do. And if you'll oblige me, we'll take a little bit of time. I'll tell you the stories, and I'll name you those things. The first thing you have to do to be a successful person has a lot more to do with failure than it does success. I learned this when I was about 7 or 8 years old. We had just moved to Clackamas, Oregon, and I lived on the school farm where the ag classes are taught because my mom was a teacher. And our back fence of our cattle feedlot would back up against the baseball field at my local high school. Well, it was a summer morning, and it was really early, 6 a.m., and I was little, so I shouldn't have been awake at that point, but I heard a very faint thud. And I kind of sat up a little bit, wiped sleep from my eyes, and I heard it again, thud. Pretty faint. I put my shoes on, I go out my bedroom door, thud, there it is. I go out my kitchen, thud, out my sliding door, thud, through one gate, thud, through the big gate, thud, up the hayloft, down the hayloft, thud, thud. Could not find what this noise was. Going back across the big barn, thud, towards the cattle feedlot, thud. I climb one fence, thud. I climb the second fence, and I look across the baseball field. And standing on the pitcher's mound is a young man just a little bit older than myself, reaching into a bucket of baseballs, one at a time. Come and set. Thud. Over and over and over again. For hours, this young man did this. I learned a little bit about his story. I found out that he actually had ambitions to play at his dream school, Oregon State University, and maybe one day make it to the pros. So to do that, he started showing up to practices, being the first to show up to practice. Thud. He played on teams that were 2 years older than him. Thud. By the time he got into high school, he immediately became a varsity starter. Thud. His sophomore year, he helped his team win their first school playoff game in history. Thud. And their first state championship. Thud. They repeated their senior year for their second state championship. And by the time he graduated, he was a Gatorade Player of the Year in the nation for baseball. Thud. He went to Oregon State University just like he dreamed. He was a preseason All-American and immediately became the Friday starter. Thud. By the time his freshman year had ended, he was setting records, and they had drafted in the MLB. But he chose to continue going to school. By the time he was a junior, he got drafted again, but he chose to finish out his education. Thud. And by the time he graduated, he was the all-time winningest pitcher at Oregon State University history, a record that still stands to this day. Thud. He was drafted into the MLB by the Miami Marlins, and he spent 5 years in the minor leagues kind of bouncing around, and eventually he got cut. Thud. But after 3 days, the Dodgers heard there was a low-cost prospect on the market, and they signed him, and they moved him up from single A, thud, double A, thud, triple A, thud, and he became the oldest player in the Fall Arizona All-Star League in the minor league baseball system. Thud. And then COVID happened. Minor league baseball was canceled, and he was left without a contract and a 1-year-old son to feed. Thud. He found himself living out of cars, sneaking into baseball facilities to get a workout whenever he could. Thud, thud, working, grinding, trying to keep the dream alive. Until baseball came back, and he was picked up by the Chicago Cubs and put on the COVID roster, which was a step above AAA and one step away from Major League Baseball. Thud. It was his first start, and he was out on the mound as the bottom of the fifth inning. He'd done okay, given up a couple runs. There was a runner on second, and a ground ball gets hit into the outfield. As a pitcher, your job is to run behind the catcher to back up the throw to home. And as he does this, he turns to backpedal. He doesn't hear a thud, but a snap. Tearing his Achilles, ending his season and potentially his career. Now, it's hard to watch this happen to one of your favorite baseball players, but it's even harder when that player is your older brother. We were worried about my brother. We didn't hear from him that night. And the next morning, we got a text in our family group chat. There's a picture of him walking with his ankle wrapped up. And he said, just part of the plan, back at it tomorrow. Just part of the plan. Did he know he was going to tear his Achilles? What a maniac. No, that's not what he meant. You see, what I found out about Ben is that when he was 7 years old and he decided, I'm going to become a Major League Baseball player, he, from the time he started his journey towards that goal, decided that he was not only going to know that failure was going to happen, but he was going to embrace it. He was going to look forward to failure. He knew that the more he experienced failure, the more confident he grew that he was on the path towards success. You see, people think that when you fail, you are a failure. But what they don't understand is that the most successful people in the world are the people that fail the most. We have to embrace failure if we want to be a successful person. How do we do that, though? You're like, okay, embrace failure, that sounds good, but how do you do that? Well, there's 3 ways we can embrace failure. The first one, we got to turn our setbacks into switchbacks. What is a switchback? It's a 180-degree turn in the opposite direction. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're climbing a mountain, we don't want our setback to become something that turns us completely around. Setbacks are going to happen to you in life. Things you cannot explain, things you're going to ask why and never have an answer to. But the reality is not what happens, it's how you respond to it. So when we have a setback, just like climbing a mountain, turn around and keep walking until another setback happens, and turn around and keep walking. and eventually you will reach the top of that mountain. Turn your setbacks into switchbacks. The second thing we can do to embrace failure is we have to learn from our failures, not lament them. What does lamenting sound like? Lamenting sounds like making excuses. It sounds like, well, I was gonna do prepared speaking, but then I ran out of time because I was on TikTok. Or hey, I was gonna run for an officer position, but I don't think the other people on the team even like me. If you feel like I'm talking to you, then maybe I am. Learn from your mistakes, learn from your failures, don't lament them. And finally, the third thing we have to do, there's a couple of smiley emojis, I think, too. Boom, yes, no. I love these. This is great. These guys are killing it. The third thing we have to do, and maybe the most important, is give yourself grace. Failure is meant to be used as a yardstick, a way to measure where you're at. It is not meant to be a dictionary or a way to define who you are. So give yourself grace. That's you, and that is also you. That's my favorite image. You're welcome. That's going to be, man, you'll never forget that, right? Embrace failure. Turn your setbacks into switchbacks. Learn from your failures. Don't lament them. And finally, give yourself some grace. People mess up. Get over it. Move on. So let me ask you tonight, what is a failure in your life that you're still holding on to? That if you were to forgive yourself for, you can continue moving towards success. The reality is I didn't get a six-pack for a couple years, or maybe ever. And that's okay. But I was so stuck on it, I couldn't pursue anything else in my life. The first thing successful people do is they embrace failure as part of the process. The second thing that successful people do, I learned from a student named Mikey. Now, Mikey was a student of my mom's and probably one of her favorite students ever. Mikey was a freshman when I was a junior, and Mikey had severe Asperger's syndrome, which meant social interactions were really, really hard for Mikey. In fact, up until his freshman year, Mikey hadn't had more than a couple-word conversation with anyone in the world besides his mom and his aide that assisted. So in class, my mom found out that Mikey was really interested in the animals and the plants. And he would ask questions all the time, but he would ask his mom and then have his mom ask my mom. So one day, my mom took a risk and she said, Mikey, hey, I can tell that you're interested in class. I think it's awesome how curious you are. But from now on, if you have a question, you've got to ask me, and we'll figure out the answer together. Kind of left it at that. A couple weeks go by, and it's just the week before that in my mom's class, they have to deliver the FFA creed. You heard of the FFA creed, anybody? Yeah. And in my mom's class, to get a grade on the creed, no matter what it is, you have to stand up and say the full creed in front of every other student. My mom told Mikey this and kind of waited to see what happens. The day comes for the creed to be delivered. Student by student, they go up and deliver the creed, and finally, it's Mikey's turn. And to everyone's surprise, he slid out of his desk, walked to the front of the room, and said every word of the FFA creed, talking not only to people for the first time, but to a group of people for the first time. And man, after that, it's like someone lit a fire under Mikey. He was asking questions left and right to anybody that would answer him. Mrs. Mayfield, I heard there's a job where you can come feed animals at the land lab. How do I apply for that? Well, she told him, and he applied for it. And unfortunately, he didn't get the job. But that didn't stop Mikey from showing up to the land lab early for class every day to help the feeders feed. Mrs. Mayfield, I heard that if I work really hard and I show up, I can show a lamb at the Clackamas County Fair. So she told him how to do it. Said, hey, Mikey, you're going to have to show up early. You're going to have to log a certain amount of hours. You're going to have to take care of the lamb. You're going to have to halter break it. And told him all the things. Mikey put in more hours than any other student. For the first time in his life, the summer after his freshman year, drove 30 minutes away from his mother to show a lamb at our county fair. By the end of Mikey's sophomore year, it was no surprise when he stood up in front of our entire community and received the award for Member of the Year, getting his very own FFA jacket. But what happened a couple months later shocked everybody. See, it was the summertime. Fair season hadn't really kicked off yet. And my mom was a little shocked when Mikey's mom was calling her. She picked up the phone and said, hey, what's going on? She said, hey, it's about Mikey. Can I come talk to you? Mom said, sure. So they show up at the classroom. They sit down. She goes, we've just come from the hospital. And I've told you how the doctor said that Mikey was going to have to be on 7 or 8 medications for his entire life for his health, right? Mom said, sure. And the doctor said, these are what he needs to do, how to live. Mom said, sure. She goes, well, the doctors can't explain it. But they've decided that Mikey's shown so much progress, they're going to cut his medications in half. Now, we can attribute this miracle to Mikey's growth to a lot of things, but I know, ladies and gentlemen, that it was Mikey's innate curiosity. his ability to ask questions and pursue answers that changed his life in a way that not even his own mother could explain. Questions are powerful. Successful people are curious. Successful people ask questions. How do I know questions are powerful? Let me tell you a little bit of a neuroscience. Any nerds in here? Any fellow nerds in here? Fellow nerds? Okay. A little bit of science here for you, okay? When we're asked a question, it's physically impossible for our brain to think about two things at once. And so when we ask a question or we ask ourselves a question or a question is asked of us, our brain starts thinking about a thing only for a second. Let me give you an example. Where's the best place to eat ice cream in all of Wisconsin? If you said Culver's, you're right. Shout out FFA sponsor, okay? Just for a second, you all thought about Culver's or your favorite place. And some people are still thinking about Culver's. In fact, they're thinking, man, I wonder what the flavor of the day is today. Oh, man, I'm trying to get some Culver's on the way home. Hey, man, hey, Mr. Johnson, can we go get Culver's on the way home? Right? And I've lost them, right? So what that process is called, when we start our brain down a path, everyone get your hand like this with me, okay? Get your hand like this. Right hand like this. It's called instinctive. Say it with me. Ready? Instinctive elaboration. Okay, ready? Here we go. Instinctive elaboration. Now we do it all together. Ready? Instinctive elaboration. Isn't that great? They're like, he did a SpongeBob meme. Best speaker ever. Okay. Instinctive elaboration. All that means is that when we ask ourselves a question, a pointed question, we start thinking about something. And then our brains take us down a path. And so if we want to be successful, we have to ask the right questions. Here's a way you can apply this in your life. Think about something you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to get an officer position in the FFA. Maybe there's a cute girl in your class you're trying to hang out with, right? Whatever, okay? Ask yourself at the end of the day, what have I done today to move myself closer to that goal? And if the answer is nothing, then make a change. If the answer is, I did do this something, then repeat it. Here's what we know. Repeated questions lead to repeated thoughts. Repeated thoughts lead to repeated behaviors, and repeated behaviors lead to results. Instinctive elaboration. Curious people embrace failure, folks. Successful people embrace failure. Successful people ask questions. They stay curious. And the third thing I learned about successful people, I learned from one of the most successful people in my life, and it's my mom, my ag teacher. Last fall, I was home for a little bit, and I was flying out on Monday. It was Sunday morning. I woke up to go get some coffee. My mom stops me, and she goes, Jason, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you, but we found out last week that Mikey passed away. And it's so interesting. She said, we're about to go to his memorial service. Do you want to join? And it's so interesting because I hadn't seen Mikey in a number of years, but I tell his story all over the country. So I said, of course I want to go. We get in the car. We drive to Mikey's neighborhood, and they're hosting the gathering in one of those community gathering centers, with the pool and the pool, the clubhouse. And there's two sets of double doors. We walk in the first one, and we notice that Mikey's mom's addressing the crowd, so we wait. We hear her say, and again, thank you so much for coming, everyone. It means so much you'd come to celebrate Mikey. Please remember that we have coffee and Mikey's favorite cookies in the back, and I really hope you eat some of those cookies, because although Mikey liked them, I think they taste like glue. And we walk in the doors. We begin watching the slideshow of Mikey's life. And after a few minutes, I notice a pattern. About every third picture of Mikey throughout his entire life is a picture of him wearing his red North Clackamas FFA shirt, the same one he received his freshman year of high school. And I look over to my mom to see if she'd notice, and I start to think about how strange it must be for my mom to be watching a slideshow of one of her students' lives. I started thinking my mom is a teacher. My mom is one of the most successful teachers in the history of Oregon. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her son. She just won Western Region Teacher of the Year last year for her association. She's been Teacher Association President in the state of Oregon twice, the only person to do so. She's been National Teacher Association President. She's had state officers, national officers. She's won national awards with her team. She sent thousands of kids to school with scholarships and college credits. And what's so interesting is Mikey represents the complete opposite of that. In fact, I don't think he competed in a single competition. As I'm lost in my thoughts, Mikey's mom approaches us and starts talking. She says, Mikey passed away in his sleep last week. He died peacefully due to some health complications. But I wanted to tell you that we decided to bury Mikey in his red North Clackamas FFA shirt. with his FFA jacket folded across his chest because that's what he would have wanted. And man, I just lost it. I was crying. And I turned, and I realized in that moment that all the awards, all the officers elected, all the things that my mom has accomplished was not why she taught, that's what she did. Mikey's story and the thousands of other students just like him that she's changed, that's why she teaches. So often in life, we put so much focus and energy into trying to thinking about what we want to accomplish. When the reality is, what we accomplish in this life will be a direct result of why we choose to exist in the first place. I told you earlier my grandma was one of the most successful people in the world. And the reality is she's successful because she embraces failure. She's had not one but two businesses fail, and she'll tell you that's all part of the plan. My grandma's one of the most successful people in the world because she's curious. At 93 years old, she still learns something new, always asking questions. My grandma is one of the most successful people in the world because she lives with the why of her life at the center of all she does. The other day I called her, I said, Grandma, do you know your purpose at 93 years old? Do you know why you're still here? She goes, of course I know my purpose. My purpose is to pray for this world and especially pray for you, Jason, because Lord knows you need it. The reality is the world's going to try and tell us that what we accomplish will determine whether you're a success or failure. How much money you make, the friends you hang out with, the followers you have, whether or not something goes viral, whether or not you get this office or win this award. But the reality is, the reason my grandma is so successful is because she knows that what we accomplish will never be as important as who we become. So I have some good news and some bad news, Wisconsin FFA. You guys want the good news first or the bad news? Okay, crazy. All right. Bunch of weirdos. Okay. Bad news is that everything you want in life, even if you became the richest person in this room and you married your dream crush and you became a national FFA officer if that's what you want, if you accomplished everything you wanted in life, the bad news is that does not mean you are successful. The good news is if you have 1 million goals and you don't achieve a single one of them, that does not mean you are a failure. So I'll ask you tonight, who are you? Who do you want to become? And when you're 93 years old, just like my grandma Dorothy, will you care more about what you've accomplished in your life or who you've become? A couple years ago, I started this business when I was in Tennessee and I was living in my small house, working in a job that I hated. And I was thinking about, man, if I could become a speaker full time, I could stand on stages and get 1 million followers on Instagram and get standing ovations. And then I stopped myself because I could not let that be what drove me. So I grabbed a white piece of paper, just like I learned in Mr. Deagle's class, and a black Sharpie. And I wrote, make the lives of other people better. And I put it on my ceiling so it'd be the first thing I saw in the morning when I woke up and the last thing I saw before I go to sleep. So I'll close with the question. When you lay in your bed and you look up at your ceiling, at that white piece of paper, what do you see? God bless. Where are we going? Right here?
Right here.
There's going to be.
Jason, thank you for your words of wisdom for everyone in attendance tonight. We are truly grateful to have you as part of our state convention. Because of you, we now know how to elevate ourselves and how to elevate the lives of those around us. Thank you for sharing your story and inspiring all of Wisconsin FFA. Please accept this token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Oh, photo. Thank you, guys.